All right, guys, welcome to another episode. I'm Orlando.
And I'm Omar.
We're the Smart Bros.
And this is the Smart Take.
All right, guys. So this is week 5. This is the episode 5. So this is going to be the San Francisco 49ers coming up. I mean, doesn't get we can't really much sugarcoat it. This is what most people would say. All these games we played haven't meant anything. And this is the game that matters. But before we get into it, we're gonna go back, recap the Patriots game, see how we did with our stats, kind of see how we felt about the game, and then we'll move on to the 49ers. But how'd you feel about the Patriots game?
Um, you know, so far we're still having red zone issues. Clearly, it didn't matter. We were the better team. We played better, And the thing is, it's like between the 20-yard lines, from their 20 to our 20, we've got to be one of the best teams in the league. But it's like once we get into that red zone, something's just not clicking. And hey, I 100% still believe we could figure it out, and I'm still gonna be optimistic about it. And so we'll just see what happens. But field goals aren't gonna beat the 49ers. We know that, they know that, everybody knows that. So we're gonna have to really bring it and really dial in and once we get in the red zone, because yeah, just field goals. But shout out Brandon Aubrey, he still hasn't missed since that first kick. So,
Knock on some
field
wood.
goals, yeah, knock on wood. Field goals aren't gonna beat them, but they definitely don't hurt. At least we're leaving there with something, but we got to figure it out. But in terms of predictions, I had Dak going for 270 and 3 total touchdowns. He did go for 261, so it's and he was surgical. He was literally surgical the first however many drives. It was looking like he couldn't miss. He only ended up having one touchdown, but another tight end touchdown was dropped. So it's like, what can you really do about it? It is what it is. But we finally found my boy CD on a touchdown. It's a long time coming, and I just feel like we're going to keep that rolling because he's our number one receiver, one of the best receivers in the league, and he's going to continue to shine. I had TP going for 70 yards and a touchdown. He only had 47 yards, no touchdowns. It is what it is. I'm just gonna credit that to we didn't really need it. We were up by a lot. So Hunter Lipke actually got his first touchdown, which we could have even Tony Pollard in there at that point. We could have put anybody in there. But shout out Hunter, we got him his first touchdown. He's a rookie. I thought CD would go for 110. He only went for 36. Like, even though we were up by a lot, I'm still not really a fan of that. I just feel like we should, regardless, that maybe that's our time to be working on things or something. But I feel like he should be up there in yards and targets and catches every game at a touchdown. And I thought MG would have. He ended up having 60, which I like that range. I think he should end up in the 60 to 100 plus game just because of the offense we have and the quarterback we have and the receivers we have, as well as the running back we have. I just feel like there's enough to go around with CD leading that charge, getting the most attention. I feel like him and Cooks will be able to eat coming up in the upcoming weeks. And I thought this would be a Cooks with 80 yards, but he only had 27. We got how to get him going, but like I said, I'm going to continue to be optimistic and I feel as if either this week or the week after that, he's going to come up big for us and have a really big game just because I feel like the 49ers saw what he can do. And so they're going to make it their mission to probably stop our man CD and make other people beat them. And I feel like that just opens the game up for Cooks. Hope we can get him on a double move or something. Or, he's a speedster. So hope we get him in open field to see what he can do. And like I said, I thought we'd have a tight end touchdown, but clearly we had one drop. And usually, right after that, right after a tight end drop in one game, the tight ends end up having a great game the next game, which is, hey, so it's a great time for them to drop a touchdown against the Patriots because we're going to need them in this game against the 49ers for sure. And I
Facts.
think so on the defense, I had Micah getting 2 sacks. He didn't have any sacks, which is, they can't get a sack every game. It's not easy. We say 2 sacks a game just because of the player he is, but realistically, logically speaking, it's not easy to get a sack, let alone multiple each game. So, got to just charge that to the game. I thought Gilly would have a pick because he had somewhat of a rough week against the Cardinals the week before. but so did Bland, and Bland came up big. He ended up having 2 picks. One ended up being a pick six. He's actually the only player in the league that's had a back-to-back years with pick sixes, as well as multiple picks in a game. So shout out to him. He has the most picks since last year with 8, and he's taken over that Trayvon Diggs role, and he's shining. And we need him to continue because we had a big week. They got Brandon Ayuk, they got George Kittle, Devo Samuel, they have Christian McCaffrey, lots of playmakers on that offense. So we're gonna really need the whole defense to lock in. And I thought we get 2 takeaways, a sack fumble and a pick. We got a sack fumble that ended up going for a touchdown. Leighton Vander actually said that was his first touchdown since high school, so I'm glad he could get that. And then we ended up getting 2 picks. So we ended up getting 3, which hey, I'm okay with being wrong there. I thought we would 35-17. We lost. Or my bad. Clearly didn't lose. We won 38-3. So hey, overall, great game. Proud of the guys. Just hope they're very locked in for Sunday. You know, it's a big game, prime time. They know the stakes. We know the stakes. We can't keep losing this team. But before we tell about our predictions and how we feel about that game, tell me your predictions. How what did you do?
Well, before I get into my predictions, my overall feel about the game is so very happy with the defense. Obviously, like you said, Micah didn't have any sacks, but he was constantly putting Mac Jones under pressure, constantly putting Bailey Zappi under pressure, who Mac Jones ended up getting benched for Bailey Zappi to come into the game. So anytime the starting quarterback gets benched pretty early, that's always a good sign your defense is playing well. Shout out to Deron Bland for his 2 picks, but looking over at that offense, even I will definitely agree with you, but in between the 20s that we're one of the best teams in the league, and also that our red zone offense is struggling. But I'm having a real problem with just the amount of looks that CD is getting. I like you touched on it a little bit,
100%.
and obviously we don't. It's just not something we need, or it's just. But I don't know. Something about it just isn't sitting right with me. Like the way Stephon Diggs is the best player in Buffalo, so he gets the ball. I love that. The way Tyreek Hill is the best player in Miami, so he gets the ball. I love that. I don't understand what it is about our offense that we can't get our best playmakers the ball every play almost. I mean, Justin Jefferson gets the ball almost every play for Minnesota, and it works for them. And offensively, obviously, the Minnesota Vikings are kind of losing games, but it's not because they're forcing Justin Jefferson the ball. That's the only reason they have a chance in any of their games. And I want our offense to just get our playmakers the ball and our tight ends as much as I love them and as good as players as they are, they're not our best playmakers. They should Luke Shoemaker, Hayden Hendershot, Jake Ferguson should not be our leaders in receiving or in targets, especially in the red zone. So I don't know what our offense is gonna have to do. I don't know if this is just what our offense is gonna be, but I just got to say I'm unhappy with the way our offense is being run right now. Even Brandon Cooks, while he's not our number one receiver, he's shown he's a 1,000-yard receiver no matter where he is. Obviously, that might be as the number one guy some places, but it's definitely been in a carousel of quarterbacks, a carousel of wide receivers, a carousel of different schemes and offenses, and he's shown that he can be that same player. So why aren't we getting him involved in any of our offense? Why aren't we trying him on double moves? Why isn't he trying to beat people down the field? It feels like everything right now is kind of within 10, 20 yards, and I just feel like our offense is capable of a lot more than that. Even with CD's 1 touchdown, it technically wasn't in the red zone because I think we were just like right outside like the 20. It wasn't inside the 20, it was right outside the 20, so it technically wasn't a red zone touchdown, but it also was CD's. It was a 20-yard catch. It was the only play CD really made in that game. It was a 20-yard catch, and he ended up with 36 yards in that game. So I want a way to get our playmakers involved, and I have faith that Mike can do that. I don't want to say he's just been saving it for the 49ers or for the opponents who he knows will need it, but I mean if that's his plan, I hope it works. I just wish we could get those guys more involved. But on to my predictions, I predicted that Dak would throw for 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he only had 260. He had 261 and 1 touchdown. I already mentioned the tight end dropped a touchdown, so there was one. And then by the time we got up so much, we kind of weren't really pushing the ball down the field. I predicted that Tony Pollard would have 105 yards and a touchdown. He only had 47, no touchdowns, but again, wasn't really needed, so can't be too mad at that. I predicted that CD would have 90 yards and a touchdown. I already touched on CD. I predicted that no. I predicted that CD would have 110 yards and two touchdowns, and Brandon Cooks would have 70 yards and 75 yards and a touchdown. And obviously, I've already touched on them. They just weren't getting the ball like that, weren't getting the targets, weren't getting the looks. So that's not too bad. But Micah, I thought Micah would have two sacks, and like you said, no sacks. But the pressure that he puts on Mac Jones, I saw videos of him being triple teamed out there. So I mean, just the attention he
100%. I
brings
saw
and
those.
just the kind of intensity he brings to that defensive line, even if he isn't actually getting the sacks, he's making an impact on that game. So can't be mad that he on the stat sheet he ended up with zero sacks. And then I predicted we would win 32-18. And while I was pretty close to our score, I mean, sometimes I guess I got to give our defense a lot more credit because every time I come out here and think that these teams will at least be able to put like multiple scoring drives on the field, our defense kind of completely shuts me up. So, I mean, like you said, can't be mad at that at all. Shut me up every week if you guys have to. So, those were our predictions that we got right or wrong for the Patriots game. What are your predictions for the Niners this week?
Before I start off with my predictions, I just want to say I saw you comment on this tweet. It was just asking about your overall feelings about the game, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I saw you put 7.8. I personally put 7, just because. Like, don't get me wrong, I 100% think we can beat them. I understand, think we have just as good a roster, if not better. You know, and it's just one of those things. Like, we haven't done it the last 2 years. That doesn't mean we can't do it. Doesn't mean we won't do it, but you got to call a spade a spade. They've had our number the last 2 years. We haven't got over that hump. I fully expect us to do that this year, but you still have to take into account. You can't take anything away from them. You see what they've done throughout the league so far. They haven't lost a game, so they're definitely, like Jerry Jones said, they're the team to beat. That doesn't, like, and I think we will beat them. Don't get me wrong, I think we will beat them, but I will, like, you got to give them credit. Right now, they're hot. They have our number, but today is a new day. It's a new season, and I think we're gonna get them. But let me get into my predictions. I have Dak going for 260 and 3 touchdowns. Pretty much my same prediction from last week, but I think the red zone offense, they know that they have to put up points against this team, and they're not going to be able to just leave with field goals. And so I think they're just gonna they probably have made that an absolute point of emphasis this week. Mike McCarthy's touched on it, Dax touched on it, and I think they're going pissed that they lost to this team the last 2 weeks, and that's the kind of mindset they need to have when when you haven't beat a team, and then they've and the way we lost, some could say it's a little bit embarrassing, our last 2 plays. So I know that's all on their minds, and I'm just hoping that they execute the plan and figure it out. I think TP will only have 50 yards because I feel like they have a good front defensive line, and I feel like they'll make it a point to try to kind of stop the run and make us pass, which we're okay with. But I still think he'll break off a couple solid 10-plus yard runs. And so, I think he'll score a touchdown. I think it's 85 yards and a touchdown, just because solid game against them the last year. He beat a DB for a go route, um, which was also PI. He ended up catching it. So I mean, that went on the stat sheet. And I think he'll have a good game. We need him to have a big game because we know that their receivers are going to come to play, so our receivers got to come to play. I think Gallup will have another 50-plus-yard game. I just feel like he should, like I said a little bit earlier, he should stay in that range just because of the kind of player he is, the kind of receivers, quarterback, kind of offense we have. There should be no issues with getting him the ball. As long as we run the right plays, run the right scheme, I feel like there's nothing much they can truly do. And I think this will be a big. I keep saying it, but I think he'll have 65 yards and a touchdown, just because maybe they're thinking, okay, well, maybe we got to try to stop CD, maybe we got to try to stop Tony Pollard. But I feel like that just opens it up for like Brandon Cooks, and he'll be guarded by their DB2, CB2, or maybe even CB3 to play it. So, and I know they're gonna try to dare Dak to throw it, which I fully trust him. So I think he'll be surgical once again, and I think he'll have a very good game. I think we'll have a tight end touchdown just because like I said earlier, every week the tight end, a tight end or the tight end drops some passes. They usually have a big game, and I think Michael will have a half. I think he'll get a lone sack as well as assist to sack. I won't go two. I'm going to go a sack and a half. I think Malik Hooker's going to go get a pick because he's yet to get on the pick board yet. He dropped a pick a couple games ago, and he didn't get a pick last game. Usually, when people drop picks, they come back and get a pick. But I feel like he just, oh, actually, he has a pick. Let me, my bad. Uh, yeah, I think Malik Hooker's going to get a pick this week just because our defense has been playing very good despite the Cardinals game, but I think he had a pick not last game, but a couple games before that. And so after his drop pick, he didn't drop a pick last game, but I have an intuition feeling that he's going to get a pick. And I think we get 5 sacks overall. I think we're going to make it a point of emphasis to stop the run because Christian McCaffrey has been killing the league. So, and last year in the playoffs, we held him to under 60 yards, and that's receiving and rushing. To hold a back like that or to under 60 yards, I mean, hey, that's very, something to be proud of, something to hold the limelight. Clearly, we lost, but I feel like if you could do that again and stack the offense on top of that, we have a very good chance of winning. And so I feel like and then we'll get him in third and long situations, and that's going to force Brock Purdy to make some decisions. And so far, he's been a great game manager. He hasn't lost a regular season game, but I think we're the team that gives him his first L, and so I can't lie. I'm ready for Sunday. I'm pumped up. I want to bet some friends, but I'm gonna hold off on the bets this week just cause it's it could go either way kind of game. I personally love safe bets. I love a bet that there's no way we can lose. Just like the first game of the year, I made $90. That's a great day for me. So I think we'll win. If I had to go a score prediction, I think we'll win 30-23. I think it'll be still a good game. Clearly, there's still a good offense, good defense. I just feel like we're gonna get over that hump this year. But that's my prediction. That's how I feel about it. How about you? How do you feel? And what are some of the predictions that you have for the game?
So I predict that Dak he'll throw for 285 and 3 touchdowns. I think that Tony Pollard will have 90 yards and 2 touchdowns, with one of them being like a pretty good run. But then I think we'll get down in the red zone and get down on the one, maybe two, and he'll punch one in. I think that CD will have 90 yards and a touchdown. I think Brandon Cooks will have 75 yards and a touchdown. And I think we'll have a tight end touchdown, like you said earlier in the episode. When the tight ends they've shown this year, after because they haven't had very good consistent games, but they'll have kind of an off game, then they'll have a bounce back game. So like you said, they played pretty poorly against the Patriots. So hoping their bounce back game is perfect time for it. So I think they'll have a touchdown. I think Michael will have 1 sack, and I think that with the 49ers will try to do, I think they'll watch a lot of tape of that Cardinals game we lost, because in that game, it was just an all around bad game from everybody, both sides of the ball, both even our best players, our worst players. Micah, as good as he is, even though he did have a sack and he obviously constantly puts pressure on the quarterbacks, there were times where they were running directly at him, which is something that not a lot of teams have came out and said, but a lot of analysts kind of think should be the game plan against a player like Michael Parsons. But before that Cardinals game, it had never really shown to work. But that was the first time I had ever seen a team just have their running backs hit those outside holes, hit those outside lanes, and Mike could just be completely out of position. So I think the 49ers will try to do a lot of that, especially having arguably the best running back in the league with Christian McCaffrey. I think they'll be giving him the ball, trying to get him on those outsides, which would create just less opportunities for Micah to get 2 sacks like I would normally predict. So that's why I have Micah only going for 1 sack. I think D-Law will have a sack. I think the rest of the D-line will also get 2 sacks with just a combination of Dorrance Armstrong, Oso Digizua, Mozzie Smith. I think we have a lot of guys down there that put a lot of
So that's
pressure on those
4 for
quarterbacks.
clarification. You think we'll have 4
Yes,
total sacks?
4
Okay.
total sacks. And then I think Bland will get an interception. I think he'll continue his streak. I think like what we predicted in that Arizona game, that first game without Trayvon Diggs, is that teams are going to be kind of attacking him since he is the newest player on that defense. I think that they'd be kind of trying to manipulate the way we had to just throw him in there. And that Cardinals game, I mean, like I said, it was a just bad all game from everyone all around. So can't even just kind of blame him. There was Stephon Gilmore was getting beat all around, but then Bland had this bounce back game against the Patriots, and like we said, they were still targeting him, but he came up with those picks that we thought he'd get in Arizona. So I think the 49ers again will try to target him, try to make him prove himself that he is a starting corner, that he can be a Pro Bowler, because that's where he's trending right now. So I feel like they'll try to make him prove that. And he'll come up with an interception because of that, and I think we'll get a safety interception just because the way our safeties are always roaming the field, always trying to guard especially with Jaron Curse guarding George Kittle, that'll put him in a lot of opportunities to get another interception.
A
So,
tight end
and
stopper.
definitely, and he also, I think yeah, he also against the Patriots had Mac Jones. I mean, dang near handed him the ball and he
That
dropped
is
it. So I
true.
know, and like I said
So
with
if you had
Malik,
to pick one out of the three, are you going him?
definitely going J-Ron, because just like
Or
in the game earlier in the year, Malik Hooker, I think it was against the Giants, had a wide open pick that he missed, and then came back in the Jets and made up for that. So I think
yeah.
J-Ron will be on the same wave.
That's kind of like
Knows he messed up.
that's kind of how it's been. Like if the defense drops a pick, for the most part, they come back and get a pick the next game. And same for the offense. Like if somebody drops a touchdown, they either come back with a big game or come back with a touchdown. Maybe it's just like they're like, okay, well, I gotta lock in now. And if there was ever a time to lock in, tight end, defense, anybody, this is the game. But continue.
Definitely. And so I think that, and then so then I think in my final score prediction, I think we'll win the game 35-14.
Okay, so you think it'll be a blowout? That's three touchdowns. That's three touchdown winning game.
I do. I see. And so, like I said, after that Arizona game, one of my predictions before the season was that when it came to teams that most people would just assume we were going to lose when it comes to the best teams in the league. We played the Bills this year. We played the Dolphins this year. We played the Niners, obviously, the Chargers. We played some pretty good teams this year. And I feel like
Eagles.
that
I mean, that's in the
obviously
division.
definitely got two games against them. But I think that there's a narrative going around the Cowboys just as a whole that they can't beat good teams, which honestly shouldn't really be there. If you look at last year, we beat the Vikings. I mean, killed the Vikings, who were a playoff team, swept the Giants, who were a playoff team, beat the Eagles, put up 40 on the Eagles, who were a playoff team. I mean, obviously they
Number
didn't
one
have
defense at
Jalen
the time.
Hurts.
I don't. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly. No, didn't have Jalen Hurts, but still the number one defense and gave them 40 points. So I mean, the
the
Cowboys,
Lions as well. We beat them.
this Cowboys team has shown that they can be good teams, but until we beat teams like the Bills, the Dolphins, and the 49ers, I feel like that's kind of the narrative that's going to be there. So I thought coming into this season, our players knew that, and when it came to those games, they were going to be trying to just trying to dispute that narrative, trying to completely throw that out, making sure to show up against them. And that's why I predicted that our losses, because I obviously wasn't going to predict that we just go undefeated, but that our losses were going to be against teams like the Cardinals, who we just have no business losing to. So and I stand true to that. I really feel like our players are prepared for this. They're ready to win. And like you said earlier, we've lost to this team two times in the playoffs, and I know they are sick of that. Dak especially. Some of his interviews, they've kind of just asked him out. Like one of the after the Patriots game, one of the interviewers was asking him how his feelings were after that last San Francisco game in the playoffs, and he all but got upset and cussed the dude out. He let the guy know pretty much that he was pissing him off, and he appreciated that because that's the kind of fire he needs going into this game. So, like I said, I know the narrative going out around this team, and I just know that they're sick of it even more than I'm sick of it. So like I said, I think they'll come to play, and I think they'll definitely be looking to put the league on notice with the win in this game.
I mean, no, that's a very valid reasoning on that kind of game. I just feel like it's always been a tough game. Even though they've won the last two games, it's not like they've just won in crazy fashion. They won 19-12 last year. I mean, that's a hard fought game. And we both have some high powered offenses, great and high powered defenses. And I mean, it just comes down to executing. We have some unfortunate turnovers last year, and clearly, I mean, Dak's not a turnover a prone guy, but he's already turned down on the turnovers all so far, and I that up. And like you said, he's pissed after the last game or about the game last year, as he should be. And I'm feel like he's going to be playing pissed off. I will say, I hope he's not, trying to force anything based on he's trying to prove people wrong. To play your game, be the top five, top seven at bare minimum quarterback you are, and and you can go top three if you really want to because other than Patrick Mahomes, everybody else is comparable, and I'm dying on that hill. So you know, I have faith in him. I have faith in this team. The only way I see us not executing is if we still have red zone trouble. But I feel like tightened up. I think our defense will come to play because they know what's at stake, and I think our offense will come to play because they know what's at stake. So I like us this weekend. I'm ready. It's on prime time, of course. That's why I feel like the number that this game is going to do is going to be crazy. And boy, oh boy, I can't wait to do this podcast again because we're coming back with good news.
And right. One thing I kind of want to mention about that last 49ers game, in that game, Tony Pollard got hurt in the second quarter, so our run game was completely non-existent. CeeDee Lamb was our only good wide receiver. Noah Brown was still wide receiver too, and Michael Gallup was still coming back from his ACL injury. So, and all those just off the back, we have Tony Pollard this year. We have Brandon Cooks and a healthy Michael Gallup. And also in that game, we had 14 penalties, which is something that we cleaned up this year. So, I mean, that was a game where kind of everything that could go wrong for us went wrong, and I just don't think we'll have another repeat of that. But
Oh, and Diggs dropped a wide open pick. And what is
dropped a wide,
that?
missed that tackle on George Kittle. I mean, that was just a like I said a bad. It was kind of like the Cardinals, a bad
One
game
of those
all
games.
over. One of those games, and that just
And
it's kind of
uh, I want to comment on something. I just pray that they get Trent Williams for these false starts that he does every play.
oh
That
my
just
goodness,
that puts the defense at that much of an even more disadvantage on off rip that they're already at a disadvantage because they don't know the snap count, they don't know the play, they don't know. You can't line up offsides if you flinching, they say hut you're offsides or encroachment or they're just the defense is already at a disadvantage and then you're jumping early. So I mean, I get it. He's getting superstar treatment, but like, God, Lee, come on, like, it's blatant, it's obvious, and I just feel like the league needs to crack down on that. And I've heard that they've been trying to. I know I forgot what team I was watching, but they got a dude that have been doing it all day. They got him at the like very end of the game, like dang, they're like their last play. But if they truly believe that they're going to be cracking down on it, they need to start there with Trent Williams.
definitely. But guys, that's another episode. We're gonna, like you said, come back to you guys after this 49ers game. I'm predicting with good news. Omar's predicting with good news, and just keep liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. We just hit that notification bell so you know when we
Oh
post.
yeah.
Just
This video will be coming. We all be seeing this on Saturday night. Like we kind of came into a little schedule. Post Saturday night before the game on Sunday, and that will change. Because we play Monday night against the Chargers the week after that. So we might be posting. We might still post Saturday. Might post Sunday night. Kind of depend on our schedules. But like for like Thursday games, clearly that'll change. But I mean, I feel like we got a good schedule going Saturday. Post it that way, like after college football, you can watch it. Get ready for this games on Sunday. But like he said, keep liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, hit the notification button. Gonna come back to y'all with another video after the 49ers game. Like I said, I think we'll have good news. I hope we have good news. I got a lot of mess to talk if we win because I know a lot of mess is gonna come to me if we lose. So
definitely. And
take
like you
us.
said,
Oh,
you
go ahead.
weren't.
Go ahead.
Like you said, you weren't that much of a betting man. And as one of my coworkers is a 49ers fan, and the crazy thing is, he asked me, he's all, you down to put a little friendly bet on the game? And as soon as I said yes, he was like, I can't. I don't know if I got it on me. And I was like, yeah,
He expected you to say no, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what he thought was going on over here. But like I said, I'm predicting a win. I'm confident, my guys. I like us versus anybody. So,
That's
all right,
real.
guys. Well, I'm Orlando.
And I'm Omar.
We're the Smart Bros.
And this is the Smart Take.
Nice.